Welcome back, everybody. Did they hear that part? Okay. Thank you.
We all heard it, Doug.
You're listening to Santa Cruz hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour. Today our show is, what's our show? It's designated. It's geared towards
March Madness,
March
Doug.
Madness.
Basketball, remember?
We have with us our friend Axel's in the studio, and Mr. Sports, who's a regular commentator on our program. And we got the man in the street, the guy that's at the place that serves beer and wings. Parker, are you there?
Yeah, that's me. I'm in the street.
Hopefully you're. Wait a minute. Are you in the street or are you at the bar? Which is it?
Literally, I'm not. I'm actually at a bar now. Literally in the street.
Oh,
You're
okay.
correct.
Okay, good.
Any updates for us? Anything the listeners need to know?
The game's going on right now. Creighton is leading Louisiana Lafayette 39-33. That's at the half. And Tennessee is currently leading.
It's UMass, right?
UMass.
Yeah, UMass 5-15.
Yeah, Tennessee's the 11th seed. UMass is the 6th seed. That's gonna be nice upset.
And that's winding down about 8 minutes left in the game.
Hey, Parker, I just got a text from somebody we both know, and he said if Arizona plays like they did today, they're going to lose to Oklahoma State or Gonzaga. Do you concur with that or no?
I agree with that. I think it's a little bit. I think they're a little rusty. They'll come back out more on fire. I think Sean Miller is a good motivator. He'll get them back on track. But Oklahoma State, that guard Marcus Smart, he's a top 10 lottery pick NBA talent. I mean, they have to contain him, and they're gonna have to play better. Bottom line.
I think you're right. All right, Parker. Well, hey, listen. We'll give you a call. Well, I'm sure we'll be back to you before the end of the show. We'll give you our wing and beer order, so it'll be ready for us by the time we get back. Is that all right?
Okay.
All right, great. All right, so what do you think? Do you think if Arizona, Mr. Sports, do you think if Arizona plays like they play, they're not going to get past the second round?
I think they will. I think today's loss, showed the big hole that Brandon Ashley left when he got hurt.
You mean their victory?
Yeah,
They
sorry.
won
Yeah,
today.
the victory.
Yeah,
They
they
won.
won.
Well, to me, they lost. The spread was 19.5, and you're a 1 seed versus 16 seed, and you only win by 9.
That's a good point. Have you noticed? I mean, you guys have been to Vegas for maybe not for this, but March Madness. Just listening to watching a game versus not watching a game. Watching a game to see who wins versus watching a game versus the point spread.
Oh.
Major difference.
Huge difference.
I mean, that Mercer game. Mercer was probably 15-point underdog.
I was somewhere in that range.
You were out of that game at halftime, pretty much.
I guarantee you, half the crowd that was watching that in Vegas moved over to the Stanford game.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's a different way of looking at things, especially if you've got money riding on it. But I think Arizona's going to have. Well, I think if Oklahoma State gets past Gonzaga, Arizona's going to have an interesting game.
Well, Arizona is going to have to make their free shots. In the Pac-12 championship game against UCLA, they shot 37% from the line. If you're going to shoot 37% from the free throw line against Gonzaga or Oklahoma State, you're going home.
And, we discussed earlier, you and I, Doug, that maybe they put in Hack-a-Gordon.
Hack-a-Gordon, there you go.
Hack-a-Gordon.
So, all right, so we got Oklahoma. Let's pick some games. You got Oklahoma State, Gonzaga. I'm thinking, I hate this because I sit there and you go, you got to go for the power conference, power team, big names, and these little schools, Mercer, University of North Dakota State. Trap games. You're absolutely right.
Well, you've got Gonzaga 8 against Oklahoma State 9. I went with Gonzaga in my bracket.
Well, Mark Few's been there plenty of times. You know that.
Yeah, but
That's why those 8-9 games are always the best games to watch.
That's a coin flip.
It
comes down to a coin flip.
Unless you just love the underdogs, and then you watch the 1/16s.
Yeah, or the 11-6.
Yeah,
those are games that usually are upsets.
The 8-9 games are going to be magic.
8-9 games are just nutso. I mean, I think I'd have to go with Oklahoma State because how do you factor? Here's a question for everybody: how do you factor the strength of schedule?
I factor it big time.
I know you do because you hate Wichita State.
I don't hate them. I just don't like them.
What's the difference?
Yeah, there is.
Their strength of schedule compared to teams that are in the Big 12, the Big 10, the Pac-12, ACC, even that conference.
The AAC.
Louisville's in.
The American Athletic.
The strength of those teams is so much better than what Wichita State plays.
Well,
you can't argue with me with that.
Well,
you can't argue with me on that.
Out of all those conferences, they're called the Big East now, but I like to call them the Big Vatican.
Yes, yeah.
So
Why is that?
they're all Catholic.
It's a Catholic school conference.
Yeah,
What do you got against Catholics?
nothing at all. I just think it's pretty catchy.
Shouldn't you ask Axel that? That would be a much better, a much better question. Axel, what do you have against Catholics?
Moving
No,
on.
moving on.
No
But, you know-
politics or religion with Axel today.
Reverting back to your Gonzaga Oklahoma State question, I think I would take Oklahoma State. And Parker mentioned Marcus Smart being a likely top 10 pick. I'm going to move away from Marcus Smart, and I'm going to talk about Markel Brown, who is the second guard there. He's the number 2 guard. But he's just right up there points-wise, assists-wise, rebounding-wise. He's just as important to the team as Marcus Smart.
Yeah, and I think, you've got Gonzaga and Oklahoma State. Okay, Gonzaga, you said it, or maybe Axel said it. Mark Few, the guy's been there forever. They've always been there. Oklahoma State Power Conference-ish. That's a good game. But the more exciting game to me is you get somebody like George Washington.
G-Dub.
Not a power conference, not a known team, and they're playing Memphis.
They're coming out of the A-10.
I know, that's not.
But here's the thing. You take every prognosticator out, every expert in college basketball, they all have a bracket. None of them ever get it
Yes.
100% right because it's the same as the NHL playoffs. Get in, win your last game. You never know who's going to emerge. Yeah, a lot of those top 1 and 2 seeds are there, but boy, they just get hatcheted out early.
Okay, thank you. Now we did not discuss everybody's bias. Obviously, Doug is an Arizona fan. Mr. Sports went to Arizona. Axel is a Kings fan and is rubbing in the fact that the Kings beat the Capitals in a shootout last
Haven't
night.
even brought it up yet.
But I know this is peremptory. Okay, I get it out, put it on the table, and
We'll
I
be for the beer and wings
I
place
obviously worked.
afterwards.
I worked for the Capitals, and I went to University of Maryland, and neither of them are very good at this point in time. Moving on. No, Memphis, George
Your
Washington.
life is a mess, John.
Jeez. Gee, thanks, Doug. Wait a minute. What school did you actually go to? Thank you. Moving on. You're listening to the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM 1220 KHTS, Santa Clara's hometown station, and it may be just the John Show when we come back.